My wife said marriage is unpaid labor, so I made her labor for her own paycheck. Invoice delivered as requested. Update 1. You know what happens when your wife discovers feminist blogs and decides marriage is unpaid labor? Well, I found out the hard way, and let me tell you, it changed everything between us forever. It started 3 months ago, when she came home from work with this new attitude. Suddenly every dish I left in the sink was an insult to her existence. Every sock on the floor became evidence of my oppression. She'd stand there with her hands on her hips, lecturing me about emotional labor and domestic equality, like she was reading from some manifesto. At first I thought it was just a phase. You know how it is, right? Women get these ideas and usually they blow over. But this was different. She bought books, joined online groups, and started talking about our marriage like it was some kind of corporate structure where she was the unpaid intern. The breaking point came on a Sunday evening. I was watching the game and she stormed into the living room holding a calculator and a notepad. Her face had that look, the one that says trouble is coming whether you want it or not. She sat down across from me, cleared her throat like she was about to deliver some kind of presentation, then she hit me with it. I've been calculating my contributions to this household, and I've determined that marriage is essentially unpaid labor. I do the cooking, cleaning, laundry, shopping and emotional support. If I were paid minimum wage for the hours I put in, you'd owe me over $2,000 a month. This was someone who'd been programmed by internet activists, who probably couldn't maintain a relationship if their lives depended on it. But instead of getting angry, or defensive, something clicked in my mind. If she wanted to turn our marriage into a business transaction, then I'd give her exactly what she was asking for. Time to show her what real accounting looks like. I stood up, walked to my office, and grabbed my laptop. When I came back, she was still sitting there with that smug expression like she just solved world hunger. You want to be paid for your labor? I asked, opening a spreadsheet. Perfect, let's talk about labor. Let's talk about value. Let's talk about who really owes who in this arrangement. Her confidence wavered just a little when she saw me pulling up financial documents. She hadn't expected me to engage with her game. She thought I'd just roll over and agree to start paying her for being my wife. What are you doing? She asked, and I could hear the first hint of uncertainty in her voice. Well, since we're treating this marriage like a business now, I think it's only fair that we do a complete audit. You want compensation for your services? Fine, but you're also going to pay for mine. The look on her face was priceless. She opened her mouth to protest, but I held up my hand. No, you wanted to play this game, you set the rules. Marriage is a transaction now, remember? So let's see exactly what each of us brings to the table, and more importantly, what it would cost to replace. I started typing and she just sat there watching me work. For the first time in months, she was completely quiet. No lectures about patriarchy or unpaid labor, just silence. That silence told me everything I needed to know. She'd made a move without thinking it through, and now she was about to learn what happens when you challenge someone who actually understands how the game is played. The next morning, I had everything ready. While she was getting dressed for work, I printed out a detailed breakdown that would make any accountant proud. 3 pages of pure reality, itemized and calculated down to the penny. When she came downstairs for breakfast, I handed her the documents along with her coffee. She looked at the papers like they might bite her. What's this? She asked, though I could tell she already knew. She wasn't going to like the answer. She started reading, and I watched her face change with every line. The smugness from yesterday was melting away faster than ice cream in July. Housing costs for your half of the mortgage, property taxes and insurance. Utilities including electric, gas, water, internet and streaming services, food costs, based on grocery bills and dining out for 100, transportation costs, including car insurance, maintenance and gas for the vehicle you use. She looked up at me with wide eyes. You can't be serious. I could see her doing the math in her head, and the color was draining from her face. That's over $20 to $100, she whispered. $20 to $120 to be exact. Now, you claimed you deserve $2,000 a month for your domestic contribution. According to my calculations, you'd still owe me $20 to $120 monthly just to break even. She set the papers down and stared at me. This is ridiculous. You're my husband, not my landlord, and you're my wife, not my employee, but you're the one who wanted to turn this into a business arrangement. You're the one who said marriage was unpaid labor that deserves compensation. Handyman services for all the repairs and maintenance I do around here. Another $300. Financial planning and bill management. Personal driver for errands and appointments. $200. Her mouth was hanging open now. And let's not forget the emotional labor you're so concerned about. Relationship counseling and emotional support services typically run about $150 per session. I provide that daily, so let's call it a bargain at $300 monthly. I leaned back in my chair. So according to your new business model, you owe me roughly $4,000 a month for services rent, minus the $2,000 you think you deserve. You're still in debt to me for $2,000 monthly. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. Finally she managed to croak. That's not how marriage works. Exactly, I said, standing up and putting my coffee cup in the dishwasher. That's not how marriage works. But since you decided to change the rules, these are the new terms. You want to be paid for being a wife. Fine, but you're also going to pay for having a husband. First installment is due Friday. Have a great day at work, honey. The door closed behind me, and I could hear her calling my name through the glass. But I didn't turn around. She'd started this game and now she was learning that I played to win. Now you can watch the second part by pressing share and more.